All right, if the board members can go ahead and take their seats, we'll get started with the pledge. Come towards your
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty and justice.
Good evening and welcome to all those in attendance. At this point, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mrs. Perry?
Dr. McBride,
Here.
Mr. Perez is absent. Dr. Gase will be here shortly. Mr. Kizabeth,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
This time I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Mrs. Perry?
Mr. Kizabeth,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. McBride,
Yes. Mrs. Perry, for item number 3, can we move forward with just 3 folks?
for this type of employment, yes.
Okay, great. So item 3 on the agenda is employment of extended learning opportunity. Mr. Bose, can you just share a little bit about that?
Yes, these are the staff members that have decided to work with our summer school program. I believe Mrs. Kuhn sent an email to the board explaining all of this. So we want to thank all these staff members for working with our students this summer. Thank you.
Wonderful. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Mrs. Perry?
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Kizabeth,
Yes.
Dr. McBride,
Yes. At this time, I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session to consider the employment of public employees.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Mrs. Perry?
I will record that Dr. Gase entered the meeting at 6:34.
Thank you.
Mr. Kizabeth,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. Gase,
What are you going
Executive session.
Oh, yes.
and Dr. McBride.
Yes. We will go to executive session with action to follow. Good. All right. At 7:19, we will exit executive session. This brings us to item number 6, which is the non-renewal of basketball head varsity girls coach, Mrs. Cooper. Entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Just a clarification. I think at the last meeting we were here, there was some discussion about a student that may or may not have left the district over this. I just wanted to clarify that I'm familiar with a student, their family is not happy about this, but they didn't leave for that reason. And so I just wanted to clarify that if they left the district, it was not for playing time or basketball. That I think the family, and I respect them highly, this was a parenting decision that they made for reasons regarding their family. And I don't want the two getting confused like that.
I also think it's important that we recognize that all of the supplemental coaching contracts are 1 year with an auto non-renew. And so the issues that were brought forward that the board felt it vital to examine were around process and protocol. It is not the board's role, nor has it been in the past, to engage in some of these personnel decisions. We have a superintendent, we have principals, we have an AD. So there's already pieces of checks and balances. We do have an oversight. And so when there were concerns around the process or the policy, it is our role and our duty to explore those, which needed to be done in executive session. And at those points have been attended to. There is not a board policy around the renewal or evaluation process, as all of these contracts are an automatic non-renewal at the end of a year. Any other pieces of discussion? Mrs. Perry?
Dr. Gase, did you make the second?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. Gase?
Yes.
Mr. Kizabeth?
This is a tough call for me as I wear a different hat, but with the recommendations of the high school principal, athletic director, and the superintendent, I vote yes for the non-removal. I truly believe in the long run, this will be the best decision for the players and, as importantly, for Coach Cooper.
Mr. Perez?
I think I'd like to echo what Mr. Kisbet said. I was involved in a previous decision like this, and I think it's important that we as board members have to separate ourselves from some of the situations. And, you know, there's a process that we're supposed to follow. And I think there were issues raised that we're going to follow up on, but I'm going to have to vote. Was it yes?
Thank you. Dr. McBride?
To the same points, I do think that the steps were followed as they should be. The board was here, the chain of command was followed, the issues were brought up, and I do think there are pieces that will be looked into, but those fall outside the board's roles. And so with this piece around the non-renewal, I vote yes. Our next piece is a fairly long-awaited piece. So item, are we 5? Nope. Item 5 is related board action, which is in regarding our superintendent. So we would entertain a motion to approve an employment contract between the board and Mr. Ben Richards as superintendent of the Tiffin City School District for a period commencing on August 1st, 2022, ending July 31st, 2025, with all terms as negotiated. Entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Discussion.
I want to thank you, Megan, for the process and all the work you did. And I think it was deliberate in our efforts. And I think that was very important for the public to see.
Thank you, Dr. Gase.
And I appreciate all the public input. I thought we had 2 great candidates when all is said and done. Unfortunately, one doesn't make it, but the other one does. We need to all, I think we should all be happy with the process. We had community input. We had a lot of critiques, and I'm excited for this new chapter to begin.
I just want to thank the board and the incredible staff that we worked with and all of the candidates. This has been a long process, but I think it is a process that the district deserved. The district deserves the best. The district deserves a right fit. The district deserves leadership and stability. And we had exceptional candidates from start to finish. We had an enormous number of candidates. And as Mr. Kizabeth said, we had 2 incredible candidates that we would have been fortunate to bring on. I'm incredibly excited for Mr. Richards and his family to move into the district, to become integral parts of the community, and to see where, under his leadership, the district is able to go. Mrs. Perry?
Dr. Gase?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Kizabeth?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Dr. McBride?
Yes. The next piece of board action is to enter into an agreement with Mr. Richards for the provision of a consulting services for up to 15 days from June 1st of 2022 through July 31st of 2022 as negotiated. So these pieces, this is a consulting contract which allows him to have not only a warm handoff and an onboarding into the district, but to work with our current staff in the high school principal search.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Mrs. Perry?
Mr. Kizabeth?
Yes.
Mr. Perez? Dr. Gase?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. McBride?
Yes. At this point, that moves us to adjournment. I would entertain a motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
If I may, I want to wish good luck to our baseball team. I believe they're playing Thursday as well. They moved on, and good luck to Calvert. They're playing as well at the same time, is my understanding. And I think the community also has some runners that are making state from both schools, and so I'm proud of all of them. And again, to our track team this year, they did phenomenal this year. Kudos to their coaches, girls and boys. And so hopefully looking forward to success in the next year.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Also, our next board meeting is June 27th, 6:30 here. Mrs. Perry.
Did we get a second?
And who made that second?
Nobody.
Nobody.
I'll second it though.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dustin.
All right, Dr. Gase.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Kizabeth.
Yes.
Mr. Perez. Dr. McBride.
Yes. Have a great night, y'all.